All right, all right, all right. Uh, what is up? What is up, YouTube boxing family? It is I, Mr. K Rod 7435 here at your service, and yeah, I'm here with a really, really good live for you guys today. I'll probably do like another one later on in the day with Mr. Skywalker, but yeah, salute to everybody in the chat or anybody that will come in. But I have a really, really good live stream for you guys today. I will be breaking down my own rough draft idea for my own personal National Boxing Association Fight League idea. This is a document that I decided to type up, and I figured that I give you guys what I can do for this idea. Um, it's about 12 pages long. I'm only gonna, go through the details of what I want to talk about, but I'll give you guys, let the screen share on my document. I got it right here. So this is my document right over here, and I could, I don't know if I could do like a screen, like I guess like a slideshow of it, but I probably can't do that because I don't think it could let me do that. But actually, hold on. Let me try full screen. No, no, that's going to be way too, big for you guys to see. So I'll just start from the beginning and I'll just go all the way down. And I'll basically give you guys my whole gist of everything. So this is my personal documentation that I made today. So yeah, here we go. This is K Rod's National Boxing Association. Hold on. Let me type that up a little bit. Yeah, association. Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually forgot to spell it right. Association. Fight League idea. The change for boxing. The introduction. The importance of this idea is to promote a pure like a marketization of the sport of boxing. Um, to promote freedom and liberty for all fighters that come in to be legendary and world championship level fighters. Like any other major sport, we as true fans slash students of the game want to remember the greatest memories and legends for all warriors slash true competitors that come in to make a change for the world to remember and use for future influence for the next generations to come. This documentation will cover what a potential fully marketized fight league in boxing should operate on the basis of protecting fighters, paying them the maximum dollar for their hard work, giving the fights the fans control to see where all forms of matchmaking is dedicated to pure high level gauntlet style 50-50 matchups to the closest variant. This is my part one, rules and regulations of the NBA. In order to be a part of the organization, you must be active in boxing, fighting contemporary competition to stay relevant in your weight class. The rules of entry implies that you must have the physical ability to fight with the proper time management to guide your career and register yourself in the NBA's application system to be universally credible in your weight class. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is that if you want to be part of this organization, like, this is all theoretical, but, like how you join the NBA, in actual basketball, you obviously have like your tryouts, you have like the draft combine. No, in boxing, every fighter is their own boss, every fighter is their own man. But for a particular fight league to take in all the best competition in the world, you are responsible of being who you are in the ring, but also being credible in your weight class to be universally recognized. So I understand that's a little bit too hard for people that are probably trying to understand. Okay, well, how can you make everyone universally recognized in the sport? And I think as far as like what a actual universal fight league should do is that it should be universally recognized for the sense of having everybody come into the sport, fresh and young. But obviously, there's like no particular age limit entry to join in. Um, I do have like an age limit of how long a fighter should fight for, but um, as far as like what the sport can offer, like I personally would say that this is a type of league that I would have solely based off of the premises of everyone is fighting at a high level early in their careers, and even when you come to the end of your career, you're still fighting the best opposition to come. Um, so yeah, basically the application system will be based on the universal setup of having fighters being brought in from all over the world. And then what a league of that magnitude can do is like, like how the NBA and basketball, they have like their games set up globally sometimes to have their games, premiered in other countries. I think that's how boxing fights should always be. Every fight is nationally recognized in whatever country that those fights can be organized in. But then when you have those universal fights where you have fighters from other countries to prove themselves how good they are by beating the top level opposition within the rank system. If you're trying to be ranked into a organization, kind of like how the UFC does it, but how they do it with unranked fighters is that they have their unranked fighters fight the ranked fighters, and like they go through like their own little tryout tribulation sessions of beating opponents that are just as tough as them, and if you beat them, then you're good. But that's a little bit more, how should I say, it's a little bit more harder for me to explain to try to make it easier for people to understand. But if you understand like what I'm talking about, then that's pretty much how I go. um like with that particular idea. So on my next bullet point, I put down the age limit of entry with the NBA is 15 years old, with proper matchmaking of skill level based on premises of managing a fighter who is ready to fight, leveled with skill progression. Um, this is more on the level of, okay, I get it. Like, you're gonna have those, Canelo Alvarez type fighters where they come from Mexico or come from, whatever part of of the world, right? Where they're gonna say, hey, look, I have like my son or my daughter. but they've been boxing, in the game for quite a long time, and they've been pro, for quite some time. Like basically, there will be those type of fighters where we will say, okay, look, do you want to have a Canelo Alvarez type fighter where he or she comes from some third world country, right? And they want to come into the sport very young as a professional. And most people, with common sense would say no, because little children should not be in the professional rankings, especially at a very, very young age. Some other people would say go for it because, this is what you like to do, but you should be carefully move, with your career. And I would say, for me, I personally wouldn't want to see that if that was like my own child. But based off of how I have this set up, I'm okay with this, particular rule. If you are 15 years old, at least 15 years old, I would not go anywhere younger under 15. I feel like that when you're a little kid getting into boxing, especially coming into the pro rankings, under that 15 age year bracket. I think that's a little bit risky, where you could end up getting a child hurt, even though boxing is a very dangerous sport as it is now. But I think 15 is a proper age. I would have had it set to 17 years old. I think 17 would have been like a proper age for a fighter to grow. But then again, there's plenty of fighters out there that are very skilled, that are at 15 years old, but they just need to have the professional ring experience just to feel comfortable in their I should say in their skill set, to feel confident in going into whatever fights that they get themselves into. So that's why that I said their skill level is based on the premises of managing a fighter who is ready to fight leveled with skilled, or to fight leveled opposition. Yeah, opposition with skill progression. My next bulletin point is every fighter is their own boss, and you must be responsible for managing your own fights. But this league, however, will grant you a select number of fighters that are in your weight class to determine how your fight schedule will be moved. Um, for example, uh, for example, would hold on. For example, you would be able, yeah, okay, yeah. For example, you would fight everyone in you would fight everyone in a sequential rank system where everyone fights each other, um, round robin style, and every win slash loss carries over to progress a fighter's development in order to be ranked in the NBA boxing system. Every fighter must fight each other to sustain relevancy in their weight class, and every fight determines your performance level and skill set of where opponents will be matched in the future. Yeah, in the future with you. My next point is that there's a total of 8 weight classes, that that being 130 pounds, 135, 140, 147, 154, 160, 175, and then heavyweight at 185 pounds to infinity based on contractual weight agreements from both teams. No catch weight fights allowed in NBA rules. Um, I put down in the next point right here, managements are allowed in this league, and promoters are only allowed to promote their fighter through means of sponsoring their career, and the fighter is in complete control of their careers. And the NBA solely focuses on making fighters sustainable in their careers and moving them in a very gradual manner. I put down for judging. Judging is still scored on a 10-point must system with 3 judges that are impartial and trained heavily for the job, and there are instant replay reviews for fights, and referees are heavily trained on making sure fights are safe and competitive. To be fair, judges are to be screened heavily on their social political views in the sport to avoid fraudulent scoring in the NBA. Every judge is sent to an individual silent room to examine fights and make sure they are watching the fights precise to score a proper round to win for either fighter. Um, so yeah, let me just go back here. When I was talking about the whole, I guess like refereeing and like I guess like safety screening, I guess it would be kind of like what the UFC would do. Like everything that you do getting into your fight before you're ready to fight, everything is properly screened at the start of, the weigh-ins, and then obviously in boxing, boxers get to choose whatever glove that is safe and effective for whatever means of combat sports, where the fighters themselves, they're drug tested, they're screened, they have no criminal intent coming into the fight. I think that should be heavily examined, and that's why that I put down. The refereeing needs to be heavily trained in case a fighter does cheat. So therefore, cheating in the sport will be a automatic penalty for you to lose your spot in the NBA, and you'll be banned, from the organization. Obviously, fighters will still want to find a way to fight, but that should be put down on your criminal record as a individual for you to not be able to fight for other promotional banners. For you to, I mean, if sanctioned bodies are still a thing in boxing, they'll try to, you know, have those fighters under their wing, but people should know that those fighters are criminals, and that should be like a reputation based system to determine a fighter's career livestock, to say, hey, don't do business with this fighter because this fighter tried killing some other fighter in the quote unquote NBA. And that's where, like, I should probably include heavy drug testing and safety screening for both fighters teams, where NBA trained officials will review a fighter's health and safety, making sure that a fighter is healthy enough to get back into a fight, and everything is properly adjudicated to make sure that a fighter's safety is is heavily heavily overwatched. So I think that's something that I'll add into the document, but this is just all conditional rough draft ideas. um I think I've already said this part. Um, yeah, yeah, I've already said this for judging. For my next bulletin point, I said the amount of rounds boxing fights are set up for both men and women are 4 round, 6 round, 8 round, 10, 12, and 15 round, all 3 minute round, fights based on the consent of a fighter's team to organize tough fights. Um, I guess as far as like the 15 round thing, the 15 rounders are something that would be only available for world championship level fights. I would never go super duper far to say that, oh well, if you're like a world champion, you should have 15 rounders at all times. No, uh, like 12 rounders and 15 rounders will be determined by the champions team, if they want to go that route of having like 12 round or 15 round fights. But I think for most of for most of the situations at hand, most fights would probably be 12 rounders, but 15 rounders would be something that some that maybe some fighters might want to do, but that's just like a little conditional idea that I put down, in case for any of what the old school people in boxing want to see that. So I just put that down there just for like a little idea for food for thought. Um, this is my part two. I have the universal ranking system, fight league mandatory tournaments, network business deals, business of boxing payouts, championship fight regulation, fight regulations, fighter insurance, and slash retirement, benefits, right? So yeah, let's talk about this. Boxing payouts. Boxing business payouts are determined by who makes more money in terms of their last fights um, of revenue, and fighters who fight more valuable competition to keep their ranking spot get the favorite pay cut to earn more money. But if either fighter both fight the best opposition to get paid, then A side B side purse splits are negotiated between the opposing teams um, requests, but in order to keep consistent matchmaking going, there is a set amount of time or set standard amount of time for you to make a fight if you want to keep your spot on the ranking list. Fighters are also able to be sponsored with any reputable business that promotes them. However, they want or however they want based on their contractual negotiations. Um, I guess what I'm trying to say here is like if you get sponsored by like companies like Nike or Sprite or Fanta or any other big level company or small business, that will be all determined based off of the negotiation between you and the company that wants to support you, and you can set up however you want to be sponsored, and that will determine the longevity of a fighter's career per se. um, I think as far as sponsorships to be promoted within the NBA, I would think that the NBA would like obviously we already know in basketball or football or baseball we see advertisements for certain sponsored partners, in which I would say that's fine. That could still be included in a boxing league per se. But if fighters want to bring their own companies that support them, then they should promote that within their own promotional advertising to say, hey, look, support Smoky Bones, restaurant, or support Olive Garden. Olive Garden supports boxing, and you know, I support them. So please go eat at the Olive Garden and get a great knockout combination dish. Yeah, but yeah, that's just something that I just threw that out there. If anybody wants to make any I guess changes for that particular idea. But that's my standard idea that I have for that. My other bulletin point right here is that if you have a promoter or management company, they get paid by the NBA organization slash networks that get involved, and every fighter gets paid 100% directly to them, minus miscellaneous cuts for team slash, etc. deductions. So basically, I'm kind of getting like the whole sanctioning body bullshit out of it the way. Sanctioning bodies are not a thing for for my for my fight league that I have. Hey, salute to you, Mark Wonderlick. Thank you for coming by. Um, yeah, he said, touch that like button, everyone. Hashtag LDBC Bomb Squad Team Petty. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But yeah, basically, how I basically explain that out. Um, I'm basically saying that if you have a promoter or a management company that wants to support you, uh, all those fees that are taken out of your pay, that's not going to be taken out of your pay. The NBA will sponsor that, or they will take care of those financial deductions, because I'm pretty sure that's why people do get pissed off that certain fighters don't get paid properly when they have promoters and management companies trying to handle their career. But for those financial struggles, that will be taken out of the picture. And then on top of that, there's no sanctioning. There's no sanctioning body, no sanctioning fees, and all that nonsensical shit. So the only thing that a fighter should get cut for out of their fight purse would be paying out for your team or whatever type of services that you use, and then obviously getting you know getting money taken out of I guess by the state, where taxes and all that nonsensical BS is taken out. But other than that, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much my straightforward idea for that. The next bulletin point that I have is the universal boxing ranking system. um, every ranking spot is set from number 1 to 100 for the top 100 fighters worldwide to compete for a title. There's one belt per division, along with an interim title belt to claim your number one spot to become mandatory for the championship. In order to be, for the championship belt. And then for my next point, I have here, I put down, in order to be ranked as a or as a unranked fighter, you must be fighting competition in the NBA ranked listings, and you can earn your spot through NBA Fight League tournaments through the wildcard unranked to ranked pool. This, however, will recognize you as a credible fighter going through preliminary bouts or regular matchmaking fights. Every ranked fighter must fight all opponents in their division to keep their ranked position. Those who choose not to fight their common ranked opponents will lose their spot. So for me to better explain that, like if you're trying to duck or dodge competition in your weight class, you'll lose your spot. Um, like I truly believe if you're gonna try ducking competition, you should automatically lose placements out of your ranking, and you should not be able to compete at the high level if you're not going to put in the hard work and dedication to be recognized as as a world title challenger or as a contemporary challenger for a world championship level ranking system. um, I think that's a fair rule to put in there. I think that's something that people can somewhat come to a common ground, with to agree with. Um, I think that's a proper rule to put in. This is all subject to change if I have some other ideas that I want to edit in, but that's how I wanted to put that out. Um, I also said that if you are injured in the event of not being able to compete, you will be put on recess to rest, and you are given a year to come back and claim your position once again. I also said on the next bulletin point, every ranked fighter that beats top names in their division will be granted more money payouts for their successful victory. And then I have down here the Fight League mandatory tournaments, in which I'll get to that in a minute. But basically, what I'm saying out here on this point is like, every ranked position that you climb on the ladder, that grants you more money, but on top of that, it gives you more traction with getting more financial benefits. And then on top of that, you'll be heavily sponsored more, and then you'll have more, promotion, of yourself. So I think that's a good idea to put out there. No fighter is left out universally, and all fighters are competing at a high level to determine who is the best in their division. And then I already made it to have it one belt, one belt, one face, one name, one champion. Um, I'll even talk about that for the championship belt regulation rule line that I put down, but that's pretty much what I wanted to put down here. Uh, you should be granted more money for tougher fights that you win as you get closer to a world title. That's why that I had it labeled for the number one spot to at least like 100 fighters. I think that's a proper number to put down. I don't think it should be like top 50. I think top 100 is a good number because you're gonna have to grind out at least like I'll say at least like I'll probably say at least 10 to 15 or 20 plus fights when you're ready to be to be summoned as a world championship level, mandatory contender. But that's just something that I'm just putting out there. This is all conditional, ideas, and they're all rough draft brainstorm ideas. So um, I said, hold on. This is my okay, yeah, right here. Fight League mandatory tournaments. So in this section, I put down if you are ranked in the NBA, there will be a mandatory ranked tournament, or there will be mandatory ranked tournaments to consolidate competition to be granted to be granted an opportunity for a mandatory position in a world title fight. These tournaments are announced every 6 months to a year to determine the proper matchmaking management of a fighter's legacy to become undisputed in their weight class. Yeah, weight class. All right, yeah. You must respond in joining these tournaments to keep your rank spot, or else you will lose your placement and must start over from the beginning. Every tournament will be organized under set standards of different ranking matchmaking events. Um, matchmaking events. Not everyone will be forced to fight each other, as certain ranked fighters will be summoned for certain particular ranked boxing events such as Super 6, Elite 8, Top 100, Unranked to Top 50, and etc. Will be explained future on this subject. So basically, what I'm saying here is that not everybody will be set in a certain tournament. I'm not saying like, okay, well, if you're number one in the middleweight division, and there's a tournament being announced for the top 100 fighters, that's not going to be applied to you. That's going to be applied to the rest of the 99 fighters that will be fighting for the top 100 spot. But basically, how that tournament will be set up is that when you're a top 100 fighter, that will eliminate at least 50 of the 50 of the top 100 fighters, and then the next 50 fighters that come in to fill up the rest of the 50 out of the 100 will be unranked fighters or whoever comes into the rankings to get their spot. But every fighter will be busy. Every fighter will be constantly fighting other people, and you will always see new competition come into a competition pool where every fighter universally will be matched up against anybody that 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 will be forced to fight them. So these tournaments will be set up as like almost like a college basketball tournament. You know what I'm saying? Like every tournament will have like their little top 10 tournament, or they'll have like their little these little invitational tournaments. So like I guess as you see it in basketball, you see the All American competition tournaments. You see the Nike Invitational tournaments. You see the LeBron James Skills Academy tournament, like basketball games, right? You see all these games being orchestrated in sports like that, especially in basketball and football, and maybe hockey and baseball. But in boxing, I would say for certain ranking placements, you could turn those into like a Super Bowl level tournaments, and I think that's I think that's a good idea to actually set that up, because let's just say if we had that idea being implemented in the lightweight division right now in boxing, Devin Haney, he's obviously the champion, and let's just say Gervonta, he's number one. Teofimo's not at 135, but I'll throw him in there. Teofimo at number two. Frank Martin number three. Isaac Pitbull Cruz number five. Or like yeah, Isaac Pitbull Cruz number four. Yeah, I have Gervonta number one. Teofimo number two. Frank Martin number three. Isaac Pitbull Cruz number four. Jose Valenzuela number five. Andres Cortez number six. I'll have Floyd Kid Austin Schofield number seven. Vasil Lomachenko number eight. And I'll just use two other fighters that are probably not known, but still, out of these rankings, there will be certain mandatory level tournaments where out of all these certain rankings, these rankings will be split into certain tournament pools. So therefore, there will be like a top 10 tournament. There will be a top like a top 15 tournament where the top 15 fighters in the world will fight it out. So I mean, personally, I think it should be split into certain rankings. It will be a top 10 tournament from ranks 1 through 10, and then there will be a top 25 tournament from ranks 11 through whatever, and then you could have like a top like a top 100 tournament from ranks 100 to at least 50, or top 50. I could do something like that. Top 50 would be good. That'll weed out the competition a lot faster. But I'm just throwing stuff out there. You could have great theme leveled tournaments where you could have like, I don't know, like a St. Patrick's Day Elite Eight tournament where the top, well, I don't know, we could have Super Six, we could have Elite Eight. These tournaments will be randomized. Not every fighter on the rankings will be summoned or will be mandated to fight in certain mandatory challenger tournaments. But let's just say if you win these tournaments, you get paid more money, and you will be incentivized more to fight bigger fights, because that will get your name up there a lot faster, and people know who you are. So therefore, those type of tournaments will grant you the opportunity to fight for a world title, because when you fight in these tournaments, this will move you a lot faster in the rankings. And the only thing that you have to go for when you hit that number one spot, or when you win the tournament, you will be put in line to be moved up faster in the rankings to fight for, for the title a lot faster. So these are all just conditional ideas. These are all rough draft ideas. I just made these up, out of like my own mind. So if you guys like it, please let me know. Uh, yeah, but that's I think these are these are good ideas. I think these are good, decent level fights where you could have like tournaments up to 50 to like 100 fighters fighting it out, and then that could be something really really fun to see, especially at the low level, especially at a rookie level, and then you can see it at the intermediate level, and then the high, super high advanced level. Like I think that's a good idea to possibly look into, as I try to break those tournaments down. Um, yeah, try to break them down more. Network business deals. Any fights being organized with the NBA can be negotiated between networks that want to get involved. Any any network like the PBC, Top Rank, DAZN, Sky Sports, etc., will be negotiated between the NBA fight, fighters teams and the sponsor companies that wish to make the fight. Yeah, to make the fights. No promoters will block fights, and all fights are final between the consent of the fighters team, between the fighters team slash networks to make the fight. The NBA focuses on making the best fights possible, and no excuses are made to make any fight, because everything will be basically, mandated for every fighter to fight each other if they want to, if they want to claim their spot. If a fighter chooses to fight on a certain network, that must be negotiated between consenting parties and the networks themselves. Um, yeah, uh, uh, it should be negotiated between the consenting parties and the networks themselves. If either team wants to discuss further actions for the sake of setting up proper venues. Okay, yeah, that's basically what I implied there. My next bulletin point was, if a fighter is wanting to have certain rights of their own national media supporting them, supporting them, uh, that is allowed by the NBA's committee of members to decide if the national foreign media is valid for proper viewership. So basically, what I have here was, like, let's just say if Canelo Alvarez fights, let's just say Errol Spence, and let's just say they want to fight each other at, at us, at a I'll just say at a middleweight, but they'll fight at, like, I guess, like maybe 160, or you know um I'll just say 175. If they want to fight at the super middleweight, fight weight, at 168. But basically, if Canelo Alvarez wants to have Mexican TV rights to support his fans and his medias that like him out of Mexico, that's perfectly fine if it's valid for proper viewership of the fans to actually watch it. Because if the let's just say if the viewership that's coming from that country is not giving the fans what they want, and they're trying to screw people over, then that should be either accepted or declined by the NBA's board of committee, members. Kind of similar to how the NBA, they have a certain voting system to say, hey, do we do we want to do business with this company or that company? And I think that's a good way to level out the playing field to be balanced with who, who's able to do business with the NBA or not. But I think that's a good idea because, number one, you could have all that viewership come to the NBA, and then on top of that, the money that's generated out of that fighters media that that supports them, that'll be paid out to the NBA, along with the fighter themselves, because they'll have like a larger backing with them, and then it doubles the amount of revenue, or if not quadruples it, with the amount of money that's being generated out of that, I guess, fan base, if you will. So I just figured that I just put that out there. I think that's a good idea. I don't know if you guys, like that idea, but I think that's a good idea to throw out there. I said right here, if fighters that are big names want to fight on pay-per-view, that will be negotiated between the networks that come together, and the NBA will display their fights for free by way of purchasing, you know, yeah, purchasing its membership to subscribe to it, or see it through a partnered network to watch for free, minus all the expenses for live gate, revenue, merchandise buying, and etc. So basically, what I'm saying right here is that I want to I want to have the NBA set up like the actual NBA, where you could have access to see a actual boxing fight, but you don't have to pay for the fight. You can pay for, I guess, like, if you actually want to see all the fights there, the fights will be displayed at the actual company website, where they have like all the databases for all the fights for all the specified weight classes, and then that'll make it easier for the consumer to be subscribed to the network, or like, I guess, at the network application or a website, and then the league themselves will have all the fights displayed, you know, like a display to the masses that actually want to replay the fights and watch them. But if it's like an actual fight where the fight itself is live, that should be shown on like a national television like ABC, TNT, Fox, or whatever, because that's why that I said without the network deals, that could be worked together with network deals like Top Rank, PBC, DAZN and Metro, Triller, or whatever. I think that's a brilliant idea, because now the NBA can now have they could have a financial backing with other networks that can post their fights on on two separate networks. If it, like now think about it, if Jamal Charlo and Jaime Munguia, if they want to fight each other, and let's just say this fight is at 160, they could have an agreement to say, if I have my first fight, I want to have my first fight on Showtime. Showtime can work with the NBA to have their fight posted for Showtime, and then NBA viewers can watch the fight on Showtime. And let's just say if Jaime Munguia says, okay, fine, if I beat you, I want to have the fight on Matchroom and DAZN or Golden Boy, in which this is where promoters, they're out of the picture. They're only there to promote their fighter. They're not there to block fights. So if Jaime Munguia wants to fight Jamal Charlo in a rematch, if he beats Jamal Charlo, that fight can be put on whatever network that's there. See, now what the NBA will do is that they'll get involved to say, okay, you guys have your bread, but then on top of that, we get our money from the amount of people that are subscribed to us, and then the free fights will be displayed on national television, where American media, will be, I guess, media networks will display that fight, and then that'll be even for both sides, or basically for all business sides to come to the table to say, all right, the fight's done, the fight's free on national television to watch it live, and then if you want to actually, see the fight replay, in which obviously there will be people that will come into that will come into post all the fights and shit like that on their own YouTube channels, which I'm not really a fan of copyright infringement. But let's just say, if you want to actually access all the fights, you have to be subscribed to the NBA's subscription program. I would say that's a fair idea, because that's what the NBA does when they have all their games set in stone through the NBA Game Pass. And I wouldn't mind having like a boxing fight pass, where you could have special perks to get certain discounts for certain fights. And I guess as far as like pay-per-view goes, like the boxing fight pass could give you like a discount to say, hey, if you want to purchase like the pay-per-view for Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford, you can just pay it on the PBC. And then guess what? We'll give you a discount to basically give you I guess gift card money or whatever type of money to add that towards paying for the Errol Spence fight, or Errol Spence Terrence Crawford fight. Or if they want to go to a different network to actually see that fight, let's just say if other networks want to support the fight, they can do that too, because that can all be negotiated with the NBA to say, hey, PBC wants to get behind Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. But let's just say DAZN and Matchroom, they want to match that to say, hey, they could have their fight, but we also want to bring our fighters onto that card, and then we could display it on our point of view. I'm just saying, like, that could be something that could be worked out, that could be negotiated, and I think that's a really, really good idea because all the money that's going to be garnered out of any networks that get involved, everyone's going to win. There's not going to be no losers, no winners. Everyone wins, everyone's happy, and people are basically left alone on a financial scale. But this is all a rough draft idea. This is something that I just wanted to put out, and yeah, I'm going to continue moving on with my other, bulletin points. My boxing, here's my boxing championship fight rules or championship belt fight rules. I said right here, every every fighter that becomes a champion in the NBA will be granted bonus payouts in their fights. Every title of defense, uh, you know, um, will be mandated um, uh, upon a time frame within 6 months to a year for a champion to defend their belt. No sanction fees are existent being a champion or ranked slash mandatory fighter. The NBA's revenue is generated by the fan support, sponsors, and etc. All fighters are paid to the highest principle of what they can achieve and accomplish. For any ranked fighter, uh, that becomes the mandatory. The number one and number two fighters must fight each other to claim the mandatory position, and then the rest of the ranked fighters must do the same if they want to advance in their climb to be in position to win a title shot. If the number one or number two can't fight each other due to whatever reasons that come, then the next fighters in line will fight for the shot, and the number one and number two former contenders will have their yeah like they will have a year to come back and fight for their placement slash championship opportunity. So basically, what I'm saying here is like every fighter is sequentially forced to fight one another. But if you are the number one or number two fighter, like let's just say Jerron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, they're in line to fight for a world title. But there obviously needs to be like a mandatory, announce for it. They would have to fight each other in order to claim their spot. But if Virgil Ortiz doesn't want to fight Duran Ennis, then the next fighter under Virgil Ortiz will take over his spot to become the number two, and Virgil Ortiz will be bumped down to like number three, or he would have to be bumped down a couple placements under for those other fighters to just fight it out. And then then Virgil would have to work his way back up to get back up to the number one spot to become a mandatory for a belt. Um, yeah, so I said right there for any fighter that becomes mandatory, the number one, blah 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 blah. Yeah, it said ranked fighters must do the same. Yeah. Ranked fighters must do the same if they want to advance in their climb. Yeah, I already said that. So yeah, I said right here on the next placement line. I said every fighter must come on weight a day before weigh-ins, and then a rehydration limit is at least 20 pounds on fight night. Um, the only reason why I didn't want to have no rehydration limit, especially like for fighters that are, trying to like, cut weight, the wrong way, I think it's best to like give that little 20-pound increase. In which I know in the sport of wrestling, like, because I used to wrestle, like, they would give you like, I guess, like at least 10 pounds above your weight limit. But I figured maybe this would be good. Have 20 pounds on fight night. Like you can't you're only able to rehydrate to at least 20 pounds on fight night. So if you go over that 20-pound limit, then that will, affect you as a as a world championship, level mandatory challenger, or just a world champion in general, or I guess any ranked fighter trying to get up there. So I'm just saying, that's just my philosophy. That's why that I consolidated the weight classes that way, because I feel like a lot more fighters will come in a lot more healthier. So therefore, fighters don't have to cut that much weight to begin with, and if they can't make the weight, then you have to be forced to move up in weight. You cannot make the weight, and if you're if you're trying to kill yourself to make that weight, then you will be automatically pushed up to the next available weight class, because that's not fair to all the other people that want to get their opportunity, but then you're trying to hold other people back by trying to say, oh look, I can make the weight, but if you're not physically and mentally strong to handle that weight class, then you should not be able to fight at that weight class. Um, I already said right here, if you go over that weight limit, for the rehydration or the actual weight class, limit, you will lose your belt opportunity and will be you will be placed back to the number 2 spot and have to work your way back up to get the title. Making the weight is a must for discipline to keep your credibility. Um, I guess as far as if you do miss weight by a couple of pounds, or I guess like a point something 5, whatever ounce there is, I guess I'll add in that rule to say like you have up to like 2 hours to like cut the weight, right? So I can I could throw that in. You will have 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours to cut weight, cut weight if you miss the first try, first try, and if you miss on second try, then you pay a penalty. Yeah, penalty to the opposing fighter. Yeah, so I think that's a good idea. I think that's something that should be a thing. I think that's something that I can definitely respect. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Salute to you, Mr. Terry Smoot Jr. I see you in the chat. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for coming by, Terry. Salute to Terry Smoot Jr. But yeah, I think that's a very very good idea. I think you know if you if you do not um oh wait hold on, give me a second. All right, I'm back. So basically, I was saying that if you don't make like the weight off of the first and second try after not being able to cut weight, then the penalty should still be like applied. I would probably say like you would only have to pay up to like maybe like 5-10% of your fighting purse, and then that'll just be like the punishment. That's all. But uh, yeah, I would say that's a proper rule to be put in place. For that rule in general. But yeah, let's talk about my second to last few ideas that I have on here. Fighters insurance slash retirement benefits. Fighters who are with the NBA will be offered health benefits slash insurance amenities to protect the fighter's career, livestock. This will be deducted within a fighter's pay by at least 5% or higher based on whatever plan you go for in insurance. Fighters who may be injured in the sport forever that can't return will be compensated with fighters insurance, money that holds a security for themselves or family that wants to get involved. 401k slash any other insurance business are included for any fighter that needs help after their career is over. If a fighter chooses to retire, chooses to retire from the NBA, their options for retirement money can be sent directly to them in installment payments, or they can get the money deposited through any substantial method that suits their financial needs to be successful. The age limit to be boxing competitively with the NBA is at least 40 years old, and fighters who choose to fight exhibitions is solely based on their own promotional decisions on who wants to support their fights if they continue boxing more in their older lifespan. When you do plan to retire in the NBA, you will be granted a retirement reward of extra money, plus a honorary Fighter Success Championship award if you succeed well enough in your career, and if you are Hall of Fame material, you will be, yeah. The league will put your name in the Boxing Hall of Fame sign banner in the arena venues. If you do wish to work for the NBA, multiple opportunities are granted among every fighter to work in certain positions such as broadcast commentator, ring announcer, referee, and more skills. You know, like you know, more based on the skills you possess with extensive training. Extensive training with it. So yeah, this is pretty much something that I figured that I just make up, and if you guys like it, please support it. Maybe this is something that could be a good idea, or maybe not. I figured that I just put that out there, and you know, have you guys take a look at it. I think this is a great, little idea that I have, and hopefully sooner than later you guys can take a look at it. I think that's something that will be good for the sport, and yeah, sooner than later, that could possibly be like an actual idea per se. But I just figured that I put it out there just to help out people, and just give them, give them like a certain mindset of what could be the future for boxing. So I think that's something that the sport will probably end up adopting one day, because I personally would like to see it. I think that would help the sport out a lot, and if I could be any help of that, I would like to do it. I would like to make some form of a difference, to be that type of advocate to help out the sport. But I think everything should be based off of a fair level playing field for both men and women, and I think that's a good idea. But yeah, I mean, if any of you guys want to jump onto the panel, talk it out with me, feel free. I got the link, pinned in the chat, and I'll keep that up for like a second. I'll keep that up for like a little bit. Then, if anybody wants to, talk about it, you know, be sure to let me know. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I just figured that I'd come on here, and I think it's pretty much fair for me to just come out and just like give out my little ideas. But I just figured that I just make this little document and then I move on with everything else that I'm doing. As far as games go, I'll probably go out and probably live stream Multiverses. I got that game for you guys, and I'll be posting content for that very very soon. I'll probably just do like a live stream for it. It's actually like a better, you know, like a better setup. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't have really anything else to really say. Um, I think that idea is, like a good idea. I think I kind of did what I had to say, and you know, I don't know. I don't know. I think based off of hmm, just based off of what I can see, out of my idea, I think it would be a good, step in the right direction. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I don't think anybody's gonna hop on here. So yeah, pretty much. Thank you very much, and hopefully I can see you guys soon in the next live stream. I'll be going live for for some gaming, and yeah, man, that's about it. So I appreciate you guys for coming through, and be sure to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to share this idea around to all the other boxing channels that potentially see this. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will see you guys later. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Shout out to the TWT, the winning team. Uh, um, I'm not a member, but I like to, give those people a shout out. They're definitely growing. That being guys like Ricky Williams, G5 Gabe, Boxing Skywalker, and many more to come. I would probably become like a member myself, but I have my own financial gains that I have to work on, or my financial problems that I'm going through. So I still like to give support out to boxing community organizations that are focused like that. So yeah, man, appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys later, and until next time, I am KRAD7435, and I'm signing out. Peace out. Thank you guys very much. Let me know how my idea is to you guys, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Bye.